Now let's talk about foreigners' life in China because it is heaven. So the first thing first is salary. Normally Westerners earn 3 times as the local Chinese do. Let's take the English teacher for example. A foreign kindergarten teacher in Shenzhen gets paid 26,000 to 30,000 RMB per month. Well, that may doesn't sound that much, but bear in mind we're still a developing country. So for 30,000 you can live a very comfortable life in any big city like Beijing, Shanghai, or Shenzhen if you don't have kids.
I'm an American living in China, and I'm going to tell you some things I love about living here. For some context, I moved to Shanghai 7 months ago with my husband and our beautiful dog, Scout. Right, the biggest thing that I will just never get over is the safety. I have never felt so safe as a woman in my entire life.
So I've been living in China for the past 2 years, specifically in Shanghai. And recently I've been watching a lot of videos on my feed of Speed coming to China and other celebrities visiting China and showing what it's like to be here. And I just want to say that my recommendation for anybody in their 20s or anybody who could afford traveling to visit China at least once in their life, or come live here for like 6 months, or just experience China, because it's so nice being.
You want to know how safe and trustworthy China is? This restaurant that I always go to has their egg delivery, their produce and oil just waiting here for them to open. And this is a busy area too.
What if the first place in your life where you finally felt safe was a country you were told to fear? What if Americans are discovering that the peace, security, and community they've been searching for isn't in America at all, but in China?
Hey, so thanks so much for the question, and it actually is interesting because we have a home in the United States as well, and here in China you can see just how peaceful it is. And when you go back to the United States, and I've been back 3 or 4 times already this year, and after we have the baby we'll go back again for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But with that said, it's very peaceful here and people are very civil. So you can see just how it's 10 o'clock at night on a Friday, and there's going to be no fighting, there's going to be no wildness, there's no homeless people, there's no drugs. So it does feel very different. So I would say you get really used to it here and almost spoiled, and then you go back to the United States and you like wonder what's going on and like why it's so messed up. But there's other things like about the United States that I do like. Of course, I like to see my family, hang out with family and friends that I hadn't seen in a while. But as far as like the calmness and the peacefulness, yeah, I don't really get tired of this, to be honest. So again, this is me just shooting raw video for my iPhone. It's 10 o'clock on a Friday night, and you can tell how China operates. So hopefully this was helpful, guys, and it shows you a side of China you wouldn't otherwise see or hear. Cheers.
Now let's talk about foreigners' life in China because it is heaven. So the first thing first is salary. Normally Westerners earn 3 times as the local Chinese do. Let's take the English teacher for example. A foreign kindergarten teacher in Shenzhen gets paid 26,000 to 30,000 RMB per month. Well, that may doesn't sound that much, but bear in mind we're still a developing country. So for 30,000 you can live a very comfortable life in any big city like Beijing, Shanghai, or Shenzhen if you don't have kids. And you can use 30% of your salary to rent a 3-bedroom apart, which looks like this. But the salary for a normal Chinese kindergarten teacher who teaches English is not even half of what the foreigner teacher have. And the second thing is dating. If you're mediocre king, come to China or any other Asian countries, you can find a 10 out of 10 Instagram baddie. I'm using a ladyboy here for example, but you know what I mean. The Oxford study is real. The third thing is your life is just so easy in China as a Westerner. Chinese people will go above and beyond to help you. There was actually a thing in China as a business for Westerners to report your case to the police on your behalf because the police will respond faster and your problem will guarantee be solved. So yeah, if you want to restart your life somewhere, Asia is great for you.
When most Americans visit China for the first time, they come with expectations shaped by headlines, crowded streets, pollution, rigid lifestyles, tension. But stepping foot into modern Chinese cities often brings a shock that is hard to put into words. The streets are clean. The subways run on time. People walk peacefully at night. And there is a sense of communal order, not chaos. This is the first emotional shift many Americans experience. Life in China feels calmer. Not because it's perfect, no country is, but because everyday stress is not the central theme of existence here. One American I spoke with shared something simple yet powerful. In China, I don't wake up terrified of bills, crime, or what could go wrong. I wake up just living.
I'm an American living in China, and I'm going to tell you some things I love about living here. For some context, I moved to Shanghai 7 months ago with my husband and our beautiful dog, Scout. Right, the biggest thing that I will just never get over is the safety. I have never felt so safe as a woman in my entire life. I can walk the streets at any time of night, any time of day, and I never feel like men or anybody is staring at me with bad intentions. Never feel freaked out. I'm not constantly checking over my shoulder. Nobody's really acting weird or crazy in public. I feel like I moved here and my nervous system could just be like, okay, we're okay. Confident and safe riding the metro alone, which brings me to my next point. I love the public transportation here. My husband and I take the metro every day to work. We work as teachers at a bilingual school, and it's always quiet. Like, the train could be packed, and more often than not, nobody's speaking. Everyone's just kind of minding their own business on their phone. Sometimes people will talk very loudly on the phone, and everyone's like, what are you doing? Metros are clean. So I feel like when I walked into subway stations in America, you would just be like, yeah, it smells like pee down here. Cities themselves in China are really clean, which I love. You can always find workers out sweeping the streets with these really interesting brooms that are made out of a branch. I don't know, it totally works. They're spraying down the streets, picking up trash, and so everything always looks really good. The other thing I love is the convenience. So basically everything is done on your phone. There are two main apps, WeChat and Alipay, and you use both of these apps for transportation, renting bikes, ordering food, paying anywhere you go. The only downside of this is you can't leave the house without taking your phone with you. You pretty much need it on you at all times, or else you can't get around anywhere or pay for things. Everything is so convenient, cheap, and fast here. A few nights a week we will order in and our food comes within like 20 minutes. There's no delivery fee. We pretty much always eat dinner for two under $10 USD. So sometimes I'll get a coffee delivered, and in total for the coffee and the delivery, it's like $3 USD. Obviously, I love the food here, but that one is just way too obvious.
Is it crazy to say that I would actually consider moving to Asia and specifically China? Because hear me out. One, it's so much safer in Asia than it is in America. And in China, they got security cameras everywhere, and I would honestly prefer that and feel safe than be in America where there's a gun problem. And two, it is just more affordable to be a girl in Asia. Like the other day, I went to China and I got a facial for $55 US and eyelash extensions for $15. While in the US, it would have cost like $250 easy. Like that was the first time I ever did real self-care, and that made me really want to get into it. And I know that I can't afford that lifestyle in America, so might as well just go to Asia for all of my beauty stuff. And three, everything is just so much cuter in Asia too. Like Asia is for the girls. They got so many cute things. Like China, top tier, man. And four, it is just so lively in China. Like I never feel alone, and it's in a good way. I always feel like there's things to do and like people surrounding me, and it feels like so like comforting. So yeah, catch me moving to Asia sometime in my future.
For many Americans, safety is something you hope for, something you try to maintain, something you constantly guard. Whether you are a woman walking alone, a young person going out at night, or a Black American navigating the complexities of racial perception, the United States can feel unpredictable. In China, the difference is immediate. Public safety is a lived reality, not a theoretical goal. People walk freely at night. Children travel alone on public transit. People play cards in parks at midnight without worry. American women often describe China as the first place they've lived where they didn't need to calculate danger in their heads. No clutching keys between fingers. No scanning parking lots. No rehearsing emergency exits. And for Black Americans, the shift can be even more emotional. Many describe feeling less judged, less scrutinized, less stereotyped. Not because China has no curiosity or no learning curve, of course it does, but because interactions are not rooted in racial suspicion. One Black expat once said, "Back home, I was always preparing to defend my humanity. Here, I just get to exist." Safety is not just physical, it's emotional. And once someone feels that emotional safety, it's nearly impossible to forget.
So for some reason, it's just like hard for people to really comprehend what I'm saying. Like when you work in China, bro, they take care of everything. Like everything I'm telling y'all is 100% true. They take care of you. They give you a free flight there once you get hired, a free apartment, furnished. Everything comes included. You don't have to worry about anything. And no, they're not paying you no cheap salary. When you're going to work there as a foreigner, especially as an American, they're going to pay you comparable to what you get paid here. But the difference is you save a lot more. On top of the free flight there, the free fully furnished apartment, and sometimes even free meals. Everything is so cheap out there. I'm talking about you don't even have to cook. $2-3 meals that you can buy for yourself. Best public transportation in the world by far. Subway costs less than $1 to take to most places around whatever city you in. Like these job opportunities are really out there offering all of these perks and even more if you got a family. Like they really look out for their employee. They know as an American, when you're traveling halfway across the world to work for them, you're expecting the best and they do their best to provide that for you. Like these opportunities really be clutch and like a fresher breath of air, because as an American myself, experiencing the system and not really liking it, feeling like I'm bogged down and constrained, like being able to lead a country and finally save and still live a great lifestyle at the same time was like amazing to me. And Americans should be more open-minded to exploring these opportunities because it was absolutely life-changing for me. Like people got their thoughts about, overseas and China in general, but like as a 6'8" black man, I was extremely comfortable, safe, had no problems, saved my bread, did what I had to do, enjoyed my life, and then when I wanted to come back home to visit family, did that. Everything was smooth. I couldn't believe how seamless it was for me for going to a foreign country I've never been to before. Like I'm really telling y'all be surprised what y'all find out there, because the life I lived there was way better than the one I lived in America, I'm telling you. And I know a lot of y'all can probably relate to, how stuff going on for y'all in America, but for me, that switch changed my life.
Americans expect to see old China. What they meet is future China. China's cities function with efficiency that feels almost unreal. High-speed rail connecting entire regions faster than U.S. domestic flights. Subways so clean they look new even after years of use. Mobile payments so universal you barely see cash. Delivery systems that bring groceries, medicine, or hot meals in minutes. Public health care that is accessible and affordable. This isn't luxury reserved for the rich. This is everyday life. For Americans, the contrast is emotional. They begin to realize, I thought America was advanced because that's what I was always told. But China feels advanced. You can see it. You can touch it. You live inside it. This creates a kind of cognitive dissonance. A quiet, internal voice whispers, maybe the world changed, and America didn't keep up.
So I've been living in China for the past 2 years, specifically in Shanghai. And recently I've been watching a lot of videos on my feed of Speed coming to China and other celebrities visiting China and showing what it's like to be here. And I just want to say that my recommendation for anybody in their 20s or anybody who could afford traveling to visit China at least once in their life, or come live here for like 6 months, or just experience China, because it's so nice being here. The life quality, like to be honest, I'm not sure on how I'm gonna move in my life, because I'm living here, like currently I'm in my mid-20s, and I don't want to leave. I don't feel like in any other country I've traveled to, it didn't compare to the comfort and to the enjoyment I have living here.
Do you want to know how safe and trustworthy China is? This restaurant that I always go to has their egg delivery, their produce and oil, just waiting here for them to open. And this is a busy area too. It's not like there aren't people that come by here all the time, but that is something you would never see.
The United States celebrates independence, but independence often becomes isolation. Work, home, phone, repeat. Disconnected. Alone. In China, life is lived together. People gather nightly at public squares to dance, laugh, talk, and unwind. Neighbors look out for each other. There is a cultural understanding that personal happiness is shaped by shared environment. For Americans, especially those who have felt invisible or socially isolated, this hits deeply. One American woman told me, "For the first time in years, I didn't feel alone. I didn't realize how starved I was for simple community. Belonging is a human need." And many Americans find it in China unexpectedly.
What's up, TikTok? 10 years ago, I left the U.S. and came to China, and I've been living here since 2012. And I just want to give you a little bit of my experience or my advice or my ideas of an American living in China for 10 years. And I see what's going on back home, and it saddens me. China is not our enemy, period. They'll throw words around like communism, communist, but you got to realize America started off also as a communist country. This word communism is not a bad word. It's what we all partake of every day. Back home, if you're a Christian and you take communion, the word comes from communism. It's the same thing, you're sharing. When you drink that little grape juice and pretend like it's blood of Jesus, you're communion. Part of communism, same thing. If you go to a picnic or a barbecue, you bring something to eat, you share with everybody else what you're doing, you're communing. You're being part of a communist organization. You're being part of communism. So this is not a bad word, and it's being misrepresented all the time. When China started out many years ago, China was very poor. After the Japanese invasion, they had to rebuild. So they had to be a communist party because they had to share. For a village to survive, they had to share. That means everybody had to bring something to put into the pot and share with each other. Now, today, China is only communism by name. It's very much a capitalist country, very much part of a capitalist country. Very much a mixed economy. 10 years ago, I came here. Now I own a business here, bought a house, got married, and I was able to do all that as a part of capitalism. So don't be fooled when they're throwing these words around like communism this. Communism and authoritarianism are two different things. Yes, China is authoritarianism. However, America is on its way to becoming authoritarianism too. If you don't stop it. So what's the idea? What's the point? What's the idea behind trying to go to war with China? It makes no fucking sense. You guys got outsmarted. Our government was outsmarted. You allowed China to show the truth, how true democracy is made. Going abroad to other countries and making deals, not going around to other countries and making war. You see how it's done? See how it's supposed to be done? And so now you feel embarrassed because China showed you how to do it the right way, and now you want to go to war. Don't let them do it, people. Because I guarantee you, nobody wants to fight in another war. Remember when Bush took us to war with Iraq, Afghanistan? And it was China that bailed us out after Bush broke our economy, made us poor, and we got all that money from China. Imagine somebody borrows money from you, and then it's time to pay them back, so you start calling them your enemy. That's some cowardice bullshit right there. No, they're not our enemy. Your enemies don't loan you money. It's fucking pathetic. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm an independent free thinker. So I'm not a slave mind like most of you, or like, should say, some of you. So you better fight it. You better do what you can to avoid this shit from happening, because nobody wants to go to another war, especially one that they cannot win. We lost a war to people running around in the desert with sandals and pickup trucks. You really think you're going to win a war against China and Russia? So people are not going to go fight in that battle. And then on top of that, your country is going to start to bring back the draft because nobody's going to want to join the military. Y'all better wake up. China's a great place, and they are not our enemy.
Here is the truth. Most Americans who stay never plan to stay. They came for a job, a semester abroad, a 1-month visit. But life here feels lighter, safer, more connected, more peaceful. And without noticing, the question shifts from, when am I going back? To, why would I go back? They didn't run away from America. They simply found a life that feels whole.
Kia ora. I am a New Zealander who lives in China. We've almost lived here for 2 years now. I'm going to talk about some things that I do here in China that I would never do back in New Zealand. This one's actually quite sad, and I used to do it when I was younger, but I feel like you just can't do it anymore. And that's walk around at night time by myself. I think I'm a lot scareder now than I was when I was younger, and I definitely wouldn't be walking at night time with my kids, that's for sure. But here in China, I will be walking around in like the big cities in Shanghai at any time of the night, anytime, early hours of the morning. I'll be walking around by myself and I will feel totally safe. There's not one time in China that I've not felt safe. There was one, actually, I lie. I was in an elevator he was a man not even from China, so maybe that's why I was scared. So it had nothing to do with the Chinese. It was just like me and him in an elevator, and I don't know, he just gave me the chills, and that's the only time I've ever felt unsafe. But nothing happened. Another thing would be I would never leave my scooter keys in my scooter outside overnight in New Zealand. Hell no. Shit, you'd wake up and it'll be gone. In China, we literally leave our keys inside of our scooter overnight. There's been times where we've gone on holiday and just left them in there, and when we come back, it's in the exact same place. Or say if it's raining, someone would have just moved it into the shelter for us. But there's no way you'd ever see us leaving keys in any type of vehicle back home, which again is sad. Another thing is my fridge has about 12 Coke Zeros sitting in there at the moment. So no, Coke no sugar. I would never ever be buying that back home because it costs way too much to be buying that, and I definitely have indulged and taken advantage of buying drinks like that and stocking them up in my fridge. But yeah, I grew up in a water only house. You either drink out of the tap, that water, or that's the only fucking water. But yeah, you won't see me buying cans of drinks and stocking them up in my fridge back home. Another thing is, you would not catch me with my nails done every 3rd week back home. Here they cost less than half the price to get them done, and I can afford to get them done every 3rd week. And if I don't get them done, it's because I've had no time to go because of this one. But there's no way you would see me with my nails done all the time back home. And that's because it costs heaps. To be honest, I'm even starting to get stingy with the prices here, and it's only fucking $24 now. It used to be $18, so it's gone up a bit, but hello. Better than 60 plus back home. But yeah, I'll try to think of a part 2 for this because that's all I can think of right now. Okay, bye.
This is not about declaring one place better forever. It's not about perfection. It's about experience. If life in America feels heavy, if you feel tired, alone, unsafe, unseen, or overwhelmed, maybe the world is bigger than the struggle you were told was normal. So here is the challenge. Do not let media think for you. Do not let fear decide your boundaries. Do not let familiarity trap you. Visit, Experience. Feel the difference. Because sometimes the life you were searching for is simply somewhere else. And the real question is, will you allow yourself to find it?